How's it going, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in for another Marvel Rivals video. I am just having a blast doing this, and chatting with you guys in comments has been so fun too. I'm just really enjoying this entire experience right now. So thank you so much for those of you that have already subscribed and for your support, and for those of you that are tuning in for the first time or maybe a returning viewer, take a moment and hit that subscribe button for me as well. I would greatly appreciate it. I have right now a really cool tier list that I put together. This one's going to be all about anti-dive capabilities and what heroes shine in that area. Now, before we jump into the tier list, I do just want to really quickly make a little announcement here. I'm going to go through a little bit of a rebrand here. I'm going to change my name, my channel name, and everything. I'm working on getting some animation done, a logo made. I'm ready to just go full force into this and focus on making a lot of Marvel Rivals content for you guys and talking about all kinds of different things. I want to start doing some live streams. I want to start doing some gameplay showcases, some VOD reviews of myself, of other people. We can even do live ones. I think that would be a lot of fun. I was talking with another creator just a couple days ago about doing some VOD reviews. So I think we have some really cool content opportunities that we can do here, and I'm just really excited to continue sharing things with you guys. So that being said, keep an eye out for the name change. Just be aware it's going to happen here in the next couple weeks, I think. But aside from that, I'll still be the same guy. We're going to hop into this tier list and just go through everything. All right, well, here it is. I already did some good work on this just to kind of get things moving forward, because it can take a while to just kind of like allocate the heroes and stuff like that. And I didn't think that it was necessary to do that. I wanted to have this kind of prepped and ready for you so I could go through this in an efficient manner and not take up too much of your time, so you can get this information as quickly and as simplistically as possible. So dive is a problem. It's always going to be a problem. It's never not going to be a problem, right? So the key is to understand how you can deal with these things, and part of that is understanding which heroes can provide you with the best anti-dive protection. Now, whether that means you have teammates that are having a hard time with dive characters, or maybe you are just wanting to be prepared for those moments, these are heroes that you can spend some time on, and they're going to be able to help you with that. I was a little bit lenient, I would say, in saying who could be anti-dive, but honestly, the thing about this is you could argue that everyone has anti-dive capabilities if they just turn around and they're paying attention. You could argue that any character who just stays with the strategist could be considered to be an anti-dive hero, right? But I don't want to be like too flexible on this. Some heroes just have things in their kits that can make a really big deal and can help out the strategists enormously. So for anti-dive Vanguards, I've got Emma in here, the grab, amazing. Thor, he has the ability to push the enemy team players around a little bit. He can displace them. He can move them away from team fights. Also, as a tank, he can soak up a lot of damage. He also deals a lot of damage. He's definitely a tank that if divers are coming in and Thor's like around the strategist, they're probably going to think twice about doing that dive. Penny is great because of the mines and the spider nest. It's just extremely powerful. It can instantly nuke a diver. It's really amazing. Venom is a dive tank, but he can honestly work well as an anti-dive himself because he has such high movement capabilities. He can very quickly get to the back line, slam down, connect to the enemy teammates that are trying to do the dive. If there's a coordinated dive, he has the ability to affect multiple people at the same time. He just offers really good, really strong presence and protection, and when used as an anti-dive, it can be very effective. Now, Magneto and Hulk, maybe it's a little lenient to put them up here as anti-dive Vanguards, but they both have the shields, which are extremely effective and can totally save, a strategist from a diving situation. Like, there's no doubt about that. I just don't know that you see that happen too often, unless it's being called out. I feel like you would need comms for that to happen and be effective, but Hulk does have a lot of good movement, so he can come back to harass a diver as well if needed. But Mag, more often than not, you're seeing that bubble go up to counter ults or help somebody on your team that's diving the enemy team or your DPS player, but it can certainly be used to help with diving situations and keep the strategist safe. Thing, phenomenal anti-dive. The thing about him is that he's more often than not really going to be locked into that front line, but if you do have a thing around you and a dive is happening, he's able to take away movement skill use. And that's a really, really important thing to note for him, because he can make it so Jeff can't swim. He can make it so that Spidey can't web away. He can make it so Rocket can't fly away. Not that Rocket's a dive character, but just as an example, he can take away that movement capability. And that's really amazing. For the anti-dive Duelists, Magic's kind of a dive character herself, but dive characters can work as anti-dive because they're so quick. They can move around a lot. They have high movement capabilities and high damage. So typically when you think about actual diving characters, like especially like, let's just say Black Panther, for example, he's kind of a glass cannon, right? So if he gets dove, like while he's already used a bunch of his skills, now you have your diver hit him in the back line, he's probably not going to survive it, right? So there is a lot of potential with characters like Magic, Wolverine as well, where they can actually dive the diver, and that can be very effective. Black Widow has a great kit for anti-dive, just kind of for protecting herself, really. The kick and then the grab, there's the combo of, I think it's shoot, kick, shoot, grab, kick again, and then shoot, and that deals a ton of damage. You can definitely nuke some people with that. So she's got it built into her own kit to protect herself. That's pretty cool. Obviously, Namor, when there's a lot of dive going on, if he's not banned, that's always the call, right? Can we please get a Namor in here? Can we get these squids up? Can we get some protection from the dive? He's a phenomenal pick for anti-dive. I would say that Scarlet Witch as well, just simply based on the fact that her primary attack it's like a locking attack. So you don't have to worry about that high mobility so much or needing to be accurate. She's going to be able to hit them and deal a lot of damage in a short amount of time. It's very helpful. Moon Knight as well, when he throws the Ankh down, it's going to create this like little area of interrupt where it's going to knock the enemies airborne. They're going to not be able to use their skills. Like if Spider-Man comes in and dives and you throw the Ankh down and it hits him, he's going to bounce up in the air and he can't use his webs after that for a short period of time. So that can become very, very effective, taking away those movement capabilities. Bucky is just very strong. He can just pop into his own back line to help out, grab a diver, pull them to him away from the strategist, and deal some serious damage. Mr. Fantastic is a great anti-dive because he's like, I don't know, he's like kind of like an off tank in a way. He's just very strong. He can show up in the back line and even from a distance because he has good range with his attack, but he can grab and pull divers away from the back line. Iron Fist obviously is a bit of a dive character himself, but utilized in the same fashion that I was saying earlier about Magic and Wolverine as an example. He can come back to your team and function as an anti-dive by staying around the strategist and just keeping people at bay. If you've got an Iron Fist next to your healers, they're probably not going to get dove. Just food for thought there. Iron Man and Torch and Storm, here's a little bit of a leniency in saying that they're anti-dive. They can go unnoticed though, and they can position themselves in a way where they're high up and they can be above the strategist or behind them or like peeking, and they can work. It's not so specifically that they have like an anti-dive like kit, but they're dealing so much damage from a distance, they're not going to be in danger of the divers attacking them as well, and they can just provide really good like air to ground fire as support for additional damage on the divers that could end up in them getting elimbed, or might make them just realize they can't really do that, and ultimately that could just result in a character swap entirely. So that's a pretty cool thing to think about with those three, but they're not like, I wouldn't really say that they're just like flat out an anti-dive, but they can certainly help support a diving situation very, very well. For the anti-dive strategist, I've got Mantis in here because of the sleep. She could just instantly sleep one, damage can be dealt, and it can keep them from continuing the dive, and it's probably going to result in them getting elimbed as well. Luna has her freeze, which is phenomenal. Also her ult, if used in a defensive manner, she's going to protect everyone in the back line from getting nuked by divers if they get overrun. It's just a great protective capability there, but the freeze is a really big deal as well. Loki can just like hop around, and it's just hard to get him. He's almost just like anti-dive for himself because it's really difficult to get to him, but he's also offering all of that damage up by having his clones there. Plus he can activate the rune healing thing, and that can keep anyone in the backline alive because that makes them immune to damage. So sometimes that little bit of like extra, I guess just support, just something to like bolster up the back line is all that's needed for the rest of the team to turn around and say, hey, we got to come back and help out the strategist right now. So I feel like that's a pretty good separation of the list to show good anti-dive Vanguards, good anti-dive Duelists, and good anti-dive Strategists. I'd love to hear what you guys think about who I've picked to put up in here. And again, this is just my opinion based on experiences that I've had. And I was a little bit lenient with some of the picks. You could say that, Squirrel Girl would be good, but I just don't think that hitting the trap is necessarily something to bank on when it comes to anti-dive. But I mean, you could make a case for some of these other ones to be put up there. So if you feel that way, please let me know. Drop a comment in here and let me know that if you think one of them should be moved up. But who would be God tier anti-dive heroes? Clearly Emma, right? We're going to do the Vanguards here first. Clearly Emma. Emma is extremely powerful. I would also say a really good pick would be Penny, honestly. I know she kind of gets dogged on a little bit, like as a tank. People feel like she's not a true tank, but I feel like she is very, very, very powerful. And the mines are they're not to be ignored, right? They're extremely strong. I would say Thing as well. Taking away movement, skill, capability, the stuns, the knocking people airborne, it's phenomenal. It's great for anti-dive. I would say these three, like let's limit it to these three. I don't want to just like pull too many up and say that they're God tier anti-dive. The reason I'm not going to move these two up is because while they do have the shield, there is quite a large cooldown on that, whereas you would have longer standing effects with these two specifically. The grab, you can get two of them off if you do it quick enough, but the kick is also very powerful, and also just having Emma present can make people decide that they don't want to commit to that dive. Okay, and now for the anti-dive duelist. I think it's pretty safe to say that Namor is going to go up into God tier. He is known for having this capability with his squids. They are extremely powerful, and it can totally ruin any type of dive scenario that's happening. I would say as well that I would put Moon Knight up in here too, because he has quick cooldowns. He deals a lot of damage. The Ankh, if you knock someone airborne on a dive like that, and then you hit it with your left click skill and then your right as well, you are going to be able to nuke a diver because they're not going to be able to do anything about it. That's a really, really cool thing to know about and to practice and utilize, because that can save you a lot and it can really help your strategists out. I would put Iron Fist up here as well. He's so good right now, and to utilize him in an anti-dive fashion, because they are going back and forth, right? You don't want to just say like, pick Iron Fist because he's anti-dive. You want to be aggressive with him and you want to be pushing the enemy team, but he can serve a very, very powerful purpose working as anti-dive against the enemy team. I think for the rest of the duelists, like honestly, I'd probably put, like if I wanted to just put one more, you could say, I might say Scarlet, I think. I don't want to pick any of these three. Like, you could make the argument that yes, they could be, but I feel like I'm being a little bit lenient already in saying that they would be anti-dive, like just because they can deal high damage, right? You can say that about anybody. You can make that argument that then, well, Psylocke is anti-dive or Punisher's anti-dive. It's more about the positioning potential and the fact that they're not going to be able to get attacked while they're doing the support assistance. But I don't really want to say that they're like anti-dive. Does that make sense? Because, anti-dive capability, that's a very objective term. I would put these three up here though, for sure. She just deals a lot of damage and you don't have to be accurate with her. So that's a really big attribute. Plus she's going to be around the back line anyway, more or less. So to just turn around and give some help there, that's pretty cool. Plus she's got the skill that does that like really short, like immobilization, which can be all you need to make a change in the current diving situation. I would definitely put Mantis up, and the reason being is that because of her kit, she's able to not just sleep an enemy during a dive, but she's also able to bolster the attack of her teammates. So by having that added attack, plus the fact that she actually deals quite a bit of damage, for her to sleep someone, be buffing attack power, and then just be headshotting someone that's asleep, standing still, I mean, you're going to win that fight. So I think that that's extremely, extremely powerful. I would honestly put Loki up there as well and feel pretty good about having him up there. Luna can stay down here. She's got a good, the freeze for it. But I think Loki's got a better kit in that regard. He works super well against dive. And I think that that's just really worth noting. So I would say, in my consideration, like this is a pretty strong list of God tier anti-diving heroes, where if you are having an issue with divers, these would be phenomenal picks. If you're in the tank role and you're playing, Venom or Mag or Thor and it's not working, then you could say, okay, I'm going to switch to Penny or Thing, or I'm going to switch to Emma. Emma right now is like known, like she is great against anti-dive. The grab, you can nuke a diver. So it's pretty powerful. But like I said, you could make the argument that anybody can be anti-dive just by turning around and paying attention, but you know, I think that everybody should be doing that, but inherently some of these heroes just have a kit that really allows them to be actively punishing divers for trying to do that to your team. So here's the list for you guys. I hope that this helps you out in games ahead where you can make some changes and make some just some swaps to help out with this situation. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well. Let me know in the comments what you guys think and we can chat about it. And again, I just appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in to watch this video. I've got a lot more coming, a lot of ideas ahead here, and yeah, I'm just really excited to continue doing this. So thank you so much for your support. I'll see you guys in the next video.